We just found out earlier today that Letitia James was indicted. Is it a shock? It shouldn't be, because Trump butt posted his plans on Truth Social, which was supposed to be apparently a text message or email to Pam Bondi, where he gave you his Kill Bill list. He basically said, "Hey, you're my attorney general. The Department of Justice isn't independent, it's my arm, because I want you to go after all my enemies, because I'm a bitter, cruel, vindictive 79-year-old man who's busy golfing and just using my presidency to engage in Festivus." And the names that were on that text that we all saw because he posted it were Letitia James, indicted today, bullshit indictment; James Comey, indicted, bullshit indictment. And the other names that were there were also John Bolton, raided, and Adam Schiff. And Lev says, well, I've been hearing there's some other names in the pipeline. So now that he's his Kill Bill list, he got Comey, he got Letitia. I'm assuming Schiff is next.
That I've been hearing Schiff for a while, Schiff and Bolton, as we've been talking about. That's what we hear. But the past week, maybe 10 days, there has been a major shift towards Christopher Wray, and Jack Smith. That doesn't mean that Schiff is not going to be next or Bolton's not going to be next, because obviously I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how they're prosecute how they're even going in front of the grand juries that quick. I mean, the one thing that we're really seeing play out is, a lot of times we say and joke around. I mean, you could indict a ham sandwich, but
Yep.
that should not be a joke. We should now see how serious this is, and we should change somehow the law. We should not have a system in America where anybody could get indicted like a ham sandwich. Because if they're able to get indictments right now, but with not even a prosecutor, she's a insurance attorney for Donald Trump. That 2 days prosecutor bringing in people from North Carolina as I mean junior prosecutors. That I mean, tell the judge. I mean, in Comey's case, the funny part before we go, it's not funny, but just crazy. My life, I didn't even know. My lawyer called me up yesterday. It so happens to be the judge overseeing Comey's and arraignment is the same judge that oversaw my arraignment. And when I was first got arrested in Trump's case in Alexandria, Virginia, at that time he was a young district judge. This was 6 years ago. Now he is, since then he's been appointed by Biden and is a federal judge. But just a little info on that one. But what Trump is right now, they're really, really, really pushing hard, and because when Kash Patel gave him basically, I don't know what you want to call it, but
Enemies
basically
list.
a president, when he told him that there was over 270 FBI agents in the January 6th crowd, because he just this is the interesting part. As big as the Epstein push that was done by the MAGA originally, then when January 6th happened, the January 6th push was that it was an FBI setup, that there was FBI in the crowd, and that it was a deep state again. It was part of that conspiracy theory that it was a setup that they pushed them in there. And Patel basically gave Trump that card by saying that they have now evidence that there was over 270 FBI agents in the crowd. So what Trump basically took that as, and now what has transformed, what my sources are telling me, is he's trying to rewrite that whole history by indicting Christopher Wray. Because if he could prove now that Christopher Wray had the FBI was involved, and there was Merrick Garland and the deep state and Lincoln, basically to turn it into that it wasn't the MAGA insurrection led by Donald Trump, but it was a deep state a fake insurrection that was set up by the FBI. And that is where Trump's head is right now. Besides, obviously, Jack Smith and the fake indictments, and now, because you gotta understand, every little thing he finds out. For Trump, it's like fuel on the fire. When they found out that Jack Smith, requested subpoenaed phone records for certain congressmen, that's it for them. That's it. They got again the smoking gun. So now inside that camp, those are the two things that they're pushing. I mean, extremely hard. I mean, the wheels are spinning really quick. So I would. It's interesting to. I was if I was I thought it was going to be Schiff next, not James. I really, because that's how hard he's pushing on Adam Schiff. But again, the last week or so, there's been a major shift. Excuse me, no pun intended. Towards what's it called? Christopher Wray and Jack Smith. Again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's going to come next. If it's one, the bottom line is all these people are about to get indicted. And the crazy part is, I think because we have a really shitty system, and that's being proven out, that we should not joke around that, because indictments, are tremendous things. Because when a person gets indictment, the pain and suffering it causes the family, and the money and everything to go through a case, especially against the federal government, it should be, and just think about, Waj, how many people through the Innocent Project, and how many we find out every day that serve 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, not because it all starts with that indictment. It all starts with, having a grand jury basically come in through a system where they're told, where a judge, district judge sits there. Just think about even my own situation. I got blessed because they were literally part of their plan to put pressure on me to keep me quiet, not to give information, Waj, but to keep me quiet, was to also arrest my wife. But the judge didn't sign the arrest warrant, and they weren't able to arrest my wife. And this is a woman that had nothing to do with anything, was sitting home with 5 kids, a newborn, and when they raided the house, that was part of the tactic. So it's first of all, I think this is opening up our eyes to see how our justice system works, even not in a corrupt way like Donald Trump, but also we're seeing how he's now criminalized, corrupted, and is taking it to such a degree. Because one of the things I'm hearing inside is people are starting to get scared, like to even talk to because they're starting to see real repercussion. And another thing is they're literally, I'm hearing even from other sources, they're using all sorts of AI technology to be able to really weed out who could possibly be the whistleblowers, looking at phones. I mean, there's all kinds of, they're really trying to clamp down on all this information that's leaking. Is really pissing him off. So, really crazy time right now, Waj.
Yeah, and what you said, this is what people of color have complained about for a long time, is prosecutors have so much power that they can bring the entire weight of the state against people, which is why 95% of cases end up in plea bargains, because the people don't have the money, they don't have the time, they have the stress. You're going against the government, you get some public defender, and if you lose, oh my God, it'll be worse for you. So you feel backed into a corner. And even if you feel like you're innocent, fine, I'll take the bargain. I'll do a misdemeanor, whatever. Now it gets on your record, but you avoid jail time. So it's a weapon that has been used. And it's a dark joke, because I'm a recovering attorney, that they taught us, like, yeah, you can indict a ham sandwich. It just shows you how much power a prosecutor has. And that's why you need ethical people with some restraints and accountability. And here you have where the initial prosecutor was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. So he resigned. So Donald Trump brings in his completely unqualified personal attorney. You see a thread here, personal attorneys. Yeah, Todd Blanche, his personal attorney, who's the Associate Attorney General, who also gave a quid pro quo deal to Ghislaine Maxwell, spends 2 days with her, and then less than a week later, she ends up just somehow magically, Lev, getting the sweetheart deal where she is the only person on earth with this type of a background to be sent from Florida to a minimum security camp where she's doing yoga. And then Tom Homan, the border czar, who was caught on video
That's
in an
crazy.
FBI sting operation, literally with a bag of cash. To this day, we don't know what he's done with the money. He hasn't denied it. And this same DOJ quashed the investigation. And oh, yeah, there were insurrectionists. They admitted it. They apologized for it. They were literally filming themselves on Facebook Live, on Twitter, on Instagram. He pardoned all of them, but now he is using his Justice Department and the attorney general as a weapon against all of his critics. And the critics include John Bolton. He didn't like the fact that he criticized him. They're going at Adam Schiff because he used his seat to try to hold him accountable for the insurrection. He hates Letitia James because she successfully prosecuted him for civil fraud. He hates, who else is there? Jack Smith, special investigation, but Merrick Garland was useless. So he's going after all of his enemies. And like you said, the pain, the stress, the money of it. It's, America incarcerates more than 2 million people, more than any other country on earth. And so these are now powerful folks, many of them white folks, who are now, Jimmy Kimmel, James Comey. So it's a chilling effect. I have the power. I will unleash it against you and everyone else. You better stay in line or else. I don't know, however, if you caught Letitia James' very powerful, bold, blunt rejoinder. Did you see what she said today? She's like basically she said "f you."
Yeah, no, I heard a glimpse of it. I said, but it's interesting how you said white folks, and I agree with you to such a degree because if you take a look at his round table, I mean, take a look who's sitting there. I mean, there's it's all white, basically. I don't know what it is, Waj. Every time I'm on, Aaron calls me when I'm on with you. He's like,
He's like, "Hey, get my show instead." And I just had a phone call as well. It's basically all white folks and Marco Rubio.
and and the and little Marco that it's just so it's just so to watch to see how Marco sold his how they all sold their soul, how they all like watching them play, and it's just it's getting to a point where I mean it's getting really 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 I mean we can't even laugh about it because this is getting so serious, and that's why right now we have to make our voices heard more powerful than ever. Right now we have to put pressure on every congressman and folks, not just Democrats. We need to call every Republican, congressman, congresswoman. We need to call every senator, Republican, and we need to put some serious pressure. We need to also start. One of the things we're doing is unifying. I'm going on with Mike Nellis on Monday.
Oh, good.
On his Substack. He has a big platform to be able. Where one of the things that I'm rallying everybody is that we need to all unite. Also, not only do the Democrats have to unite their message, but we also hear our social medias on Substack, all the influencer. We also have to unite some message. We also have to because we have it has to be the economy. Yeah? Oh, by the way, just like you talk about Cankles, Cankles is going to the Walter Reed. They slipped that in there that he's
Yeah.
going for a checkup in Walter Reed. Really, a
You,
checkup?
you
Oh,
already had a checkup. See, you
I was,
already
gonna-
had a checkup.
I was gonna say that he just had a checkup a few months ago, if you remember. Remember, and then he was a week he was out of commission, and also there were sightings of Melania at Walter Reed back then, So definitely, I mean, there's a lot of things behind the scenes, and I always say it's as scary and as crazy as is what we're looking at. It's a lot more scary and crazier what they're not even telling, what we're not seeing, and what we're not hearing. And the real masks are all folks right now, and that's why right now it's not a matter of enough with the conspiracy theories, enough with saying this. It is in front of your eyes. We are living in a dictatorship. We're living in a country where we really don't have rights unless you disagree. Just think about it. Donald Trump sits there, the president of the United States. Not once does he talk about unifying our country. Not once does he talk about I'm a president for all. He hates the other side. He hates anybody that doesn't agree with him. If you agree with him, doesn't matter if you're a sex trafficker, convicted, I'll consider a pardon. Puff Daddy, hey, great guy. So what if convicted prostitution or beat women to a, this is the atmosphere we're living in, and everybody. The sick part of it is, I speak to a lot of people all over the world, Wash, and they're like in shock because the things that nobody saw is the criminal element that is right now infiltrating our White House through because everybody knows his buttons. Everybody understands between the wave the dollar, a business deal, give him that gold present, give him a jet, give him, and they also know that there's a way to get to him because it's all wide the open. His two twiddle dee twiddle dum that's being run by Zach Witkoff and his father. Steve Witkoff. And now, who came out of the woodwork that we've been talking about for like 3 months? Jared Kushner. No, remember, nobody's out all of a sudden when it's time to who's in the Middle East now? Jared Kushner. So it's like it's the same names, it's the same people, and that's the scary part. Like look, today I really hope, that what they're saying, that there is going to be peace in the Middle East. I really hope that, the Palestinian people are going to get, finally the bombardment's going to start. I really hope that there is going to be no more war, but I don't believe him.
All
I
right.
until I see because knowing him as well as I know him, there's always something. There's always that. You know what I'm saying to you. So for now, I'm gonna pray and say thank God. That the hostages are coming home. Thank God the bombing is coming for now. Thank God that there's at least talks about getting aid there and getting stopping all of this murdering and killing and trying to at least get some normality. But until I see it, I'm saying to you, I can't be too happy about it, because with him, I know there's always something behind, door number one or door number two that he's not telling, we don't know about, that, we're still has to see. So, but
Oh,
I
I
mean,
take him by his word. He told Netanyahu to finish the job. He's already promoted the AI video of a Riviera of the Middle East. He already has Jared Kushner there accepting deals. The Security Cabinet of Israel has already said, "Yeah, we're going to control Gaza City and move the Palestinian population."
but what? But tell me that. But what about the Muslim and the Arab world? Are they selling out also then? I mean, because what's
Oh
going
yeah,
on
yes.
there?
Well,
What's
no,
happening?
The Arab countries have sold out the Palestinian people. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, they all want to normalize relations, but they realize if they do overtly, they're going to risk the wrath of the population, because the population is not for it, right? So they have to, if you will, play along to keep their population at bay. But they've sold out the Palestinian people for a long time. But even they now realize that Israel is rogue, right? Like, look at Qatar. Israel bombed Qatar, folks, last month, while Qatar, which is a U.S. ally that has the biggest U.S. military base in the Middle East, was hosting Hamas for negotiations. So how did Israel respond? By bombing the negotiator. Qatar got pissed. Donald Trump got pissed on behalf of Qatar, and he said, "Okay, no, you won't do it again." Saudi Arabia had to intervene, right? So what we're dealing with is Israel. I think a rogue. Leadership of Netanyahu, much like Donald Trump, has to stay in power to avoid
100%. They're
accountability.
identical. They're
Yeah,
identical. That's why
and,
they're in one and one. Absolutely.
and Smotrich, who's the finance minister, and his cabinet are openly talking about, how we're going to screw the Palestinians. How, oh yeah, after we get the hostages, we're going to continue with what we want to do. So they're openly saying it, right? So I think this is going to be a reprieve given by Israel to Donald Trump for him to lobby to get his Nobel Peace Prize, which
Oh,
inshallah
that's
he
all.
won't.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about the Nobel Peace Prize.
And then give it a week, Israel will say that Hamas attacked, and they, say bullshit, and they'll continue. Why will Israel, Lev, when Israel's security cabinet has openly voted to control Gaza City and move the people, and Donald Trump has openly talked about creating the Riviera in the Middle East and Gaza, and when Smotrich and Ben Gvir and others are openly saying we're going to take everything river to the sea, and violent settlers in the West Bank are feeling more emboldened, and nothing has been said about the West Bank or East Jerusalem or occupation, what makes you think that this will hold? And
Oh, I
Israel,
don't. I
especially
got your point.
Netanyahu.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just me. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong.
Well,
Lev.
I started off by saying the same thing. I mean, I hope I'm wrong also, and I hope that, because for the sake of the Palestinian people, the sake of the Israeli people that want peace, for the sake of humanity and all of everybody, yes, we hopefully. But I agree with you. I do not. Knowing the players involved, knowing the plans that they had ahead of time, I don't think, I truly, I agree with you. I think that they have plans for different, like, see, you gotta understand that for Donald Trump, it's all about real estate. And just think about what he says. You got, for those of you that don't know him, you got to think of when he says that he can't believe that, that Israel even ever gave up the best property because it's on the water. To him, it's like prime property. So I don't, and he's mentioned it so many times that he's going to be in charge of, America's going to be in charge of what's going to happen there. And now all of a sudden, also the way he says that he didn't want to, but they asked him to be the head head of this peace group or whatever that they're putting together. I mean, so somehow he's always the leader. If you notice, he's the leader of all of these groups. He doesn't want to be, just like he doesn't want to be the leader, to run the national whatever. But that's again, hopefully we're wrong on that one because
But you know why I don't think I'm wrong? Just knowing Netanyahu, knowing Israel, listening to Smotrich, listening to Ben Gvir. What I always tell people is just listen to them. Just listen to Donald Trump. Take him literally and seriously. They're telling you the plot openly. Like, what more do you need to see? The evidence is in front of you over the past 2 years. So it's going to jeopardize it. I think it was only done this week because Donald Trump said, "I want the Nobel Peace Prize. Give it to me. I want it." But unfortunately, Norway stopped the process on Monday. They apparently already have the decision. So this deal has come late. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he gets the win, and that win will mean the end of this genocide and the release of the hostages. But I remain extremely skeptical, folks. And furthermore, Donald Trump, he's been played by Netanyahu. In the first administration, he blew up the Iran nuclear deal. In the second administration, folks, he almost went to war with Iran. It was almost World War III because Donald Trump got used by Netanyahu to go bomb this nuclear reactor, didn't even blow it up. This is the same man who says he's open to using military force against Greenland, wants to make Canada 51st state. Same man who now has war against Americans with troops and ICE just terrorizing American streets, zip tying kids, tear gassing cops, priests. The good news, though, because I do see some pushback, Lev. And I think it's very important for the American people to see Letitia James, a black woman, look right at the camera and say, "I will be unbowed." I don't care for Comey. It doesn't matter. He saying, "I won't be unbowed." A judge just blocked right now, an hour ago, Trump from deploying troops in Illinois. A temporary restraining order. Obviously, they're probably gonna, bypass it. I think you saw Kevin Britt today of Oklahoma, Republicans say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I don't think Oklahomans would like it if Chicago sends its National Guard." And then we've been talking about this for a while, folks. Some names we've mentioned when Lev and I have been speaking since the summer. We said, watch this space with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
yeah,
Did you
look at
see
her.
Marjorie come out today? What'd
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah, listen. I'm hearing some. I'm going to be. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be reporting some stuff about that soon. There is a brewing where Trump flipped his lid about Marjorie Taylor Greene. About he said some. There were f bombs being thrown out about what the hell is she doing and what is she thinking. And it started with the Epstein Files, and then it continued now with her breaking up, going on CNN, and breaking with the Republic with the shutdown. Uh, but it's a great. But what it shows that that we have hope. It shows that we can break through. It shows that if a Marjorie Taylor Greene could already said, not only about the Epstein files, but is out there talking about the shutdown that the
She
Republicans.
blamed Republicans. She
Yeah,
blamed
right.
Republicans.
She says they don't know what they have no solution. She said that. She said that she got into it. And that's why Trump is flipping out. I mean, if Marjorie Taylor Greene could do it, just think about there's 200 other Republican congressmen and women out there that nobody even talks about. They're hiding. That's why each and every one of you get on your phone, get on your computers, email them, call them. They know the elections are coming. And they're more just like when I interviewed Bacon, and just like when Rokana said, they said, yeah, we might only have 218 votes for what's it called for the to get it onto the floor. He goes, but watch what happens when it gets onto the floor. I guarantee you, Lev. He goes to me, there'll be over 100 Republicans that will sign up for that. It will be a free for all because nobody wants to go down in history with their name protecting a pedophile. I mean, guys like Johnson, they're already all in. They have nowhere to go, so they're stuck. That's why he's doing everything in his power to make sure he doesn't. I mean, just think about just that alone. Think about how insane that is. That we have a congresswoman from Arizona
Grijalva.
that her constituents cannot have a congresswoman because these guys are protecting a pedophile and don't want to get this information out. This is where we're at right now. This is insane.
I think that's why every day I bring up Adelita Grijalva. I'm like, how come you're not swearing in Adelita Grijalva? Is it because she'll give the 218th vote to release the Epstein files? I always say, folks, bring it back to Epstein files once a day. Bring it back to Epstein files. The PBS poll numbers came out that a majority of Americans, and literally three-fourths of Americans, want the release of the Epstein files. It's the only bipartisan issue. It has radicalized the MAGA base. You see splits with Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and others. And I don't know if you saw Eric Swalwell's tweet. I think it was
Yeah,
yesterday or 2 days
yeah.
ago, where
Yeah.
he said a Republican texted him and he alleges that the Epstein files are going to come out eventually, and when they do, the entire house of cards is going to fall. It's like it's terrible. They can't escape it. They know it's coming. It's just a matter of when. Your take on that?
Oh, that's I agree with 100%. I think a lot of them. That's the whole thing. A lot of them are staying away because they're not getting pressed. The media is not pushing them. Nobody knows their names. They want to be quiet. They don't want to get caught up in the whirlwind, and because their races are most of them are tight. But when the vote comes on the floor, then they have to come out there and put their vote. Now they're going down. Now it's something where they go on the record, and that's why I don't think, that's why I think Swalwell is hearing it directly from them because he's on the floor. He's there with them. I'm hearing it from my sources. The same thing that we're going to see a lot of Republicans vote once it hits the floor, and that is why Johnson's so scared. That is why, because they won't be able to hold it. See, if it's a tight vote, they could still play their games. But if all of a sudden you're going to see a landslide of Republicans coming out there in support of this vote, because remember that after that it goes to Trump's desk. So if it's going to go to Trump's desk with like 300, you know what I'm saying? Well, what is he going to see? This is it's an avalanche effect. It's like, that snowball, to make it bigger, roll it down. We're just getting the snow. That's why we keep talking about. That's what we're saying. The Epstein files, the Epstein effect. You know, what I'm saying to you, I hate to keep mentioning his name because it's disgusting what it is, but that's his kryptonite. It's like keep pushing that snowball down, let it get bigger and bigger, 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 bigger until it wipes it down. And the one thing they're not doing, but we will. I'm working on it, Waj. I'm working with some things, and as soon as I have, hopefully, I'll be in DC soon, and I'll come see you and tell you because I definitely going to be part of this with us. But trust me when I tell you, I'm putting something together where we're gonna take over the news cycle a little bit. For I'm gonna show them how to do it. I'm gonna show them how to irritate Trump a little bit and take over and give. There's just too much between the Epstein files, between Project 2025, between what they're doing. I mean, with their it's just there's too much ammunition out there for them not to be out there. Like, just even think about Hakeem Jeffries. He came out great. They all attacked, what's his name? Lawler from New York. Do more of it. They should be standing outside the chambers and attacking Johnson, if you sure, confronting them. Let the people see every day. But keep going on TV, getting in front. I mean, keep going. Like, I'm saying to you, it's not a hit and run. You got to keep going, keep the pedal to, I mean, especially when you see the dam breaking, especially when you see like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Right now, everybody should be embracing. You should be running ads. Right now, we should be ads in every state and city with Marjorie Taylor Greene saying it's the Republicans' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. If Donald Trump would have this type of information, do you know what he would be doing? They're protecting right now. Where are all the ads with that they're not putting in the congresswoman from Arizona? This is Grand Slam. They're protecting the pedophiles. That was. That's it. It's simple. They're protecting the pedophiles. They shut down the government. I mean, they're giving you all of this ammunition. And that's why, you know what, I said to myself, I'm not even going to wait until, we're just going to keep going. There's a lot of good people. There's a lot of like-minded people and, real patriots, not the patriots that Donald Trump calls that are out there that stole the name patriots, that stole the American flag, but real patriots, veterans and others that, are realizing and are joining this movement. And we're going to do some stuff, you know, uh,
I think the Epstein files, I mean, I keep going to it. Look, folks, I know there's so many, everyone's fighting these fights, but you have to look at the weaknesses. He can't escape it. And I think the reason why he can't escape it, because as we know from Wall Street Journal reporting, he's in it. And as we know from the notebook and from Donald Trump's video and testimony, yeah, not testimony, but his own comments, and all the people who've witnessed it. He partied with Epstein. We all know he did. He admitted he did. It's all out there. Michael Wolff said that him and Epstein just chased models. That's what they did in the 90s. And they had his own modeling agency, and he had Miss Teen USA, and he's been accused of sexual assault nearly 2 dozen times. And the girls in the Miss Teen USA said this creepy guy, Donald Trump, used to come and look at them while they were changing. And he's been held liable for sexual assault. And he grabbed him by grabbing women by the pee. And Epstein said he was his closest friend. And Epstein's notebook was disgusting. We talked about it on Democracy Ish. If you look at some of the messages, everyone knew Epstein was a pedophile. They joked about it. They celebrated it for his 50th birthday book. Just go look at the images there. They drew cartoons about it. They had one showing Epstein giving lollipops and balloons to little kids, and then years later he's getting massaged by those girls. So everyone knew, folks. Everybody knew. And all these names are in the files, and he would rather burn down the government than get to release those files, because I do think those files will show that potentially our commander in chief allegedly probably raped girls alongside Epstein or did nothing about it. Yeah, it's the pro pedophile president, like you said. His spiritual advisor, we talked about this recently, was just convicted of molesting a girl. The spiritual advisor, yes, only got 6 months. Ross Ulbricht, the head of Silk Road, the hub of digital sex trafficking and drug trafficking, got pardoned by Donald Trump. Glenn Maxwell, Lev, he said he didn't say he won't pardon her. He didn't say no. I would not be. I think he'd pardon her. I think he might. I think he's so freaked out by Epstein that he will pardon Maxwell.
Well, it's good. Well, what's interesting how it's gonna play out, because it's knowing some of the players, knowing Todd Blanche, her attorney Marcus Oscar. I hope I'm pronouncing his name properly. So in knowing their relationship, so this was all planned out for the appeal. Now that the appeal fell through, now that because they were hoping that the appeal happens and Trump doesn't have to do anything, and it's an easy win. Now that doesn't happen. It's interesting to see how long until they start putting pressure on Trump by, because remember, don't forget how this all started. It all started is when Maxwell, through her attorney, leaked that picture that Donald Trump drew in the letter to the New York Times. Not Times, I'm sorry, to the Wall Street Journal. And when the Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch, published it, Trump went, but that was the message that started it. Right after that, they met. And so it's interesting. It's going to be how Maxwell plays this, as far as, the pressure, if anything else starts leaking, or if there's all of a sudden, like he says, I have the right to, but the interesting part is you're starting to see others that are trying to cover up for it. So Laura Loomer was coming out saying that I spoke to some of my sources that are saying that he's never going to pardon Maxwell. When when I hear that from Laura Loomer, to me it says that I think he's going to pardon
Yeah,
Maxwell.
it's projection.
He's yeah,
And
they're
and also, did you see CBS reported today that the evidence, excuse me, the Epstein, the investigation was completely bungled up. CBS exclusive report came out today that there was essentially, they didn't say this, but it looks like a cover up. Evidence was misplaced, markers were placed in different thing. There was no interview of the officers on duty for 2 years. I mean, they completely effed up the crime scene. They mishandled it. I mean, Lev, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but after all of this, come on now.
like I said also, sometimes if it smells like it, if it looks like it, if it feels like it, it's it. You know what I'm saying to you? It's like, sometimes, we're so we sometimes we need to we want to see the smoking gun.
This,
Sometimes we
what
don't.
someone saying at CBS News earlier today said cell where Epstein died never underwent inspection, experts say. And then they break down all the things that went wrong with this inspection, the mishandling of the evidence, significant mistakes that never happened. And furthermore, people who were not interviewed. The details pulled from 90 photos of the cell and other evidence collected in the hours after Epstein's death, but before FBI agents arrived to process the scene, appear to show, I'm quoting them, a succession of basic oversights ranging from an absence of evidence markers to items being moved, experts told CBS.
Well, yeah, one of the guys, first of all, I spent time in a cell like that, not in his particular cell, but a cell in the shoe that is where you, and I could tell you for a fact, I mean, it's extremely difficult to hang yourself, first of all. Second of all, uh, if you saw the pictures with all of those sheets, all those orange sheets, when you're in solitary confinement and in the shoe segregated housing, you're only given one sheet. You're only given, like, where did all of those sheets come from that were laying all over there? The other thing is that when I spent time in Otisville, one of the guys that was there with me happened to be spend he was there during when Epstein was there, and he was on mop duty, and he would mopped Epstein's cell after after whatever happened, and they took the body out of there. He said that they basically had him go in there, clean the cell, and then they transferred him literally the next day to Otisville camp. And this is a guy that was looking at some serious time. He was supposed to be going to a medium or low facility, and he got transferred. He goes to a low facility again, and he was with me in Otisville. So that just, I mean, so and again, like I told you, Waj, I mean, I spent a lot of time. I spent over almost a month in solitary in the shoe, and and there's it's meant. And first of all, you're looked at every hour. I don't care if the cameras weren't working. It doesn't make every hour on the hour. It's protocol. It's not just you. You're telling me, I'm saying to you, the guards fell asleep, the camera wasn't working for that. I'm saying all of the it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
And if you all don't believe this, folks, Ghislaine Maxwell is in a minimum security camp in Texas as we speak. Why? Alex Acosta gave Epstein, a pedophile, a sweetheart deal where essentially he spent 6 of the 7 days outside raping girls. Why? It's just trust the evidence of your eyes. Why isn't Donald Trump releasing the Epstein files? The federal judge says the DOJ can release it. Why did they lie to us? Since May, this has been a cover up. It's one of the biggest, most grotesque cover ups in modern American history. And they're lying to us. So I keep saying, folks, as everything is happening around us, right? We just have to focus, focus, focus. And we have to look at the three Achilles cankles of Donald Trump. I think it's the economy. Marjorie Taylor Greene said it today. I think she sees where the wind is blowing. She realizes, oh shit, everything's getting worse. She realizes the shutdown it's reflecting negatively on Republicans. More and more Americans are finding out about the Republican plan to increase premiums. That's not good. The Epstein files, I think, is another cankle. Achilles cankle. I think that's the biggest Achilles cankle that you have to keep prodding, prodding, prodding. And then finally, I think it is his health. He's aging. He's weak, and I think the people around him realize he's weak, which is why Stephen Miller and Russell Vaught are trying to extract as much orange juice from him before he falls, going for insurrection, going for, a martial law, going for Maha, RFK and his insane agenda. And so I don't, and also, Lev, 60% of Americans are against his overreach. I think they misread the fact that people would support the National Guard and ICE and military being on the streets. Most people are like, no, no, no. And he's made immigrants great again. The Gallup poll showed that immigrants have the highest favorability rating in like decades. So he seems, we've used this analogy before. The ship is leaking and he's putting band-aids on. I don't think he has enough band-aids left. I think he's just bringing out the cannons now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the other interesting part is people sometimes forget that all of that Epstein debacle happened under Bill Barr and Donald Trump's nose. It was there.
2019.
2019, it was Bill Barr that was handling all of that. It was Bill Barr that handled this. And remember what Bill Barr is the master of not getting information, of shutting it down, just like he did to me. 2019. Yeah, I was arrested not to get information, not for me to go speak and tell everything I knew. Instead, it was about shutting up, keeping quiet, sealing everything up. Same thing with the Epstein. That's why nobody, a lot of people don't even ask the question, why was he arrested? What was the evidence? Why was he arrested when he was arrested? What triggered that arrest? Where's that evidence? Because something because they picked him up on a flight. So there had to have been an investigation long enough, and there had to have been something triggered it where they said, aha, Now it's time, because that's how the FBI works. That's how the federal, they don't go in. That's why they have almost 100%, conviction case. What was that evidence? What triggered Bill Barr? Or was it maybe not the evidence, but maybe some financial stuff? Because remember, towards the end, all those billions going between Russia, Trump was getting Russia Gate. Trump was about to get impeached because of all the Russia dealings. Bill Barr, maybe we had nothing to do with the sexual stuff at that time. Maybe Bill Barr wanted to shut Epstein up because of certain stuff that had to do with Russia, Trump, and certain leaks, that because of that whole who knows? But where's that information? But it all happened under Bill Barr. It happened under
And
Trump.
and Bill Barr's dad is the one who gave Epstein his first job in that prep school. You remember that?
Yeah.
And also, Deutsche Bank gave Epstein and Trump loans on the same day. And furthermore, Ron Wyden has said that he's going to do the money trail, and I do think the money trail will expose a lot of players. And furthermore, Alex Acosta, according to the Wall Street Journal, when he asked why did he give a sweetheart deal to Epstein, he said, well, he was told that he's a foreign agent, a foreign spy. And we also saw Ehud Barak, who is the former head of the IDF and former prime minister of Israel, visit Epstein many, many times in New York. Folks, I ain't a conspiracy theorist. I'm just telling you the evidence. You connect the dots. Um,
And
I would never.
Pam Bondi, if you saw the way she was sitting there responding, this is the interesting part. She would tell, she would get asked by Senator Wyden or somebody, Blumenthal or something, a question. She would tell him, I can't talk about that because of whatever reason. But then she would talk about them and the Epstein file. like I could talk about you and there. I could talk about who gave you money from there. I could talk about what connection you, but I can't talk about Donald Trump. I can't talk about anybody else. I can only talk about whoever's going to ask me questions, because that's how we roll. Because that's how the DOJ
Yeah,
rolls.
and we're perfectly fine with Tom Homan taking $50,000 openly and a camera in an FBI sting operation. That's fine, and we're perfectly fine with the violent insurrection. We're perfectly fine with Glenn Maxwell and pedophiles. But we have to go after Letitia James. I think. Look, I think the damage is going to be great. I think he's going to do a lot of damage to this country before he leaves. I have eyes wide open, Liv. But I also see the one positive I see is I think this is a desperate regime. I think they're engaging in overreach. I don't think they realize how loathed they are. I think they made a mistake by putting Stephen Miller out in front of the world for the past week. I think Stephen Miller believes his own hype. I think the administration doesn't realize that people think he's a creep. I think Pam Bondi made herself look terrible. I think go after Jimmy Kimmel, going after Letitia James, going after James Comey, going after kids and innocent people in Chicago and Portland and LA is just a bridge too far for some folks. And the fact that they're not releasing the Epstein files and seating Grijalva on top of the government shutdown, one after another, after another, after another, plus the economy's bad, plus inflation, plus rising costs, plus this stupid trade war. I think he's bottoming out, and that what makes him a dangerous cornered New York City sewer rat. No disrespect to sewer rats.
I mean, you could have said it better myself. I mean, that was perfectly said, Waj. You connect all the dots. That's exactly where we are. We're living in a very dangerous time, but there is hope. And we have a lot of hope because there's a lot of cracks, there's a lot of rage. And as long as we keep doing what we do, as long as we keep standing up, as long as we keep fighting, let our voices being heard, going out there. One of an important day we have coming up, if I may for a second talk
Please.
about October 18th, is No Kings 2.0. I have my No Kings shirt ready to go. I want to make sure everybody go out there, and this is a day where we need to really let our voices be heard. Everybody could do something, from going out and protesting to putting up signs in your driveways to going out there and social media, writing your letters. But this is a day we need to unite as a country and really, really go out there and let our voices be heard, let them know. Because remember, Donald Trump, there's a lot of things and a lot that he might not be scared of. But the one thing that really gets him, the one thing that bothers him, and it bothers every dictator, if you go back to history, is when people don't agree with him, when the people stand up to them. That's scary because that's what he can't control. Because the one thing that he's trying to really get, that's why if you see, he was trying to get the love of the people, the love of the media. It's that in the head. Like even you heard him today talking about how, oh, finally the media is doing a good job. I'm not going to attack the media because they covered me properly with this whole Israel and Palestine situation with this peace deal. So today I'm going to give the media a pass because that's what all he's craving for. He's not really craving for resolutions. He's not craving for actual peace deals. He's craving for that attention. Like, and I keep going back to that. I'll never forget how she said that, Mary Trump. When I asked her, I said, Mary, your uncle's listening right now, watching this. What can you tell him? And she turned around and said, Donald, I feel very sorry that you were never loved as a child.
Mm,
And that is says it all about Donald Trump, folks. For those of you that are trying to figure him out, that is all he is craving. That is why he wants the Nobel Peace Prize. That's why he wants to recognize. He craves the attention, the love that he never got as a child, and that
that's why it's never enough. It's never
yeah.
enough. He's like a child who's always fed but is still hungry. A
Mm.
child who has a full belly but always feels hunger. It's never enough for him. It's never enough for people like Elon Musk. Similarly, horrible childhood. His father been accused of raping his own stepkids. He openly talks about how he had a terrible time as a kid, had a terrible relationship with his dad. Many of these individuals, if you look at them, Tony Hinchcliffe, Joe Rogan, missing dad, non-existent relationship or terrible relationship. It's the same cycle. They have everything except happiness and contentment and security. Stephen Miller, miserable, had a loving childhood, but something in him, right? He felt rejected. Maybe I'm convinced. I don't know. I'm convinced there was a Latina girl he had a crush on who said, "You're a freak," and that's what radicalized him in ninth grade.
Hey, could
Uh,
be, could be.
yeah,
You never
yeah,
know.
all these loser, and I'm not blaming women for rejecting him, by the way. I'm blaming themselves. Most people get over it. We all got rejected or had crushes on girls who didn't reciprocate. I was a shy, overweight kid, but none of us became friggin' psychopathic white nationalists. These are broken men, and they're weak men, and they're weak men who fizzle real quick. You punch them in the jaw figuratively. They have weak ankles and weak knees. I'll give a final example before I give the final word to Lev to promote himself. AOC went on offense 2 days ago. She cut through all the noise and said, "Look at this Stephen Miller. He's 4'10". He's probably angry that he's short and he takes it out on the world." Fox News, I think, spent like a day and a half worth of coverage bolstering him up. They played the clip, had him respond to the clip. Lev, what more do you need to see?
I mean, but that's exactly. We need to keep the pressure on. We need to. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Take over the news cycle. That's what I'm talking about. And but not one time hit and run type of stuff. We need to go out there and we need to get some a regular pundits, some regular people on all of these conservative networks that are talking about our also the other side and not letting them just ramble on. We need to be able to go out there and get out of the echo chamber and go out there and see middle America. Go out there and talk while all of this division is happening. We need to embrace some of these people that are in the middle and start. This is the opportunity. That's an incredible thing. Like just think about everything you said, Waj, everything you're talking about. Just one of these things would be great. We have so many opportunities. That's why I tell people we have so much hope and so much opportunity, but at the same time, it is so dangerous and is at the same time is so crazy because no that hope to realize we need some people to stand up for that hope to come to reality. We need some people to be brave enough for on the other side to stand up to this dictatorship, to stand with us for with humanity. And I truly believe, what we're doing, and with our community, with this movement, with people that are on here. I mean, we have close to 2,000 people on here. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but 2,000 that are going to go share this video today, and to 2, 3 people, and those 2, 3 people are going to share it. We're going to get millions of people to go watch this and understand what is actually happening. And the more people see it, the more people understand it, the more people will obviously walk away, because nobody wants to live under dictatorship or tyrantship. Nobody wants to wake up and not know what's going, or to see the military roaming their streets, and gas masks being worn because they're thrown in the city. I mean, just think about what America has become. If you take a picture, it's of where we were 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, 4 years ago, 1 year ago. 1 year ago, take a picture of America and then take a picture of where we are today. I mean, it's scary to think about. I mean, we we are at, what we don't realize, we're actually at war inside our country. We have
Yep.
military in 3, 4 different states. They're planning on. We have ICE in every state. Uh, think about the soccer. I mean, Chicago. There was supposed to be a huge soccer match that had to get moved to New Jersey because they couldn't sell tickets, because people are scared to go to watch a soccer game because ICE is going to be there. ICE is planning on being at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, just think about, folks. Like, who voted for that? Like, who would want that? Like, who? Like, I mean, you have to be really sick in the head to want to live in a country that's surrounded by, Gestapo, soldiers wearing masks. That, if they don't like the way you look, I mean, or they don't like the way, like they said, it's not. It's, if you look suspicious, if you act nervous, if you grab the steering wheel too quickly, that could be it. You could be gone for God knows where, or God knows to who. It's
And
crazy. But
also of thought crimes, as we know through National Security Presidential Memo 7. If you tweet against ICE, if you do anti-Christian comments, then that's an indicator of left-wing terrorism. That's where we are. It's going to be all hands on deck, folks. We need the majority. They don't have the numbers. You just need to show up, your face, your bodies, show up. It's very powerful. I've been saying this example a lot. I'll end on this. Two examples. When people use their money, because capitalism is still the religion of America. The color green still trumps the color white. When they use their money to protest the canceling of Jimmy Kimmel, 2 days, ABC, Sinclair, Next Gen, they all said, "Oh, okay, we love money more." And then, if you saw the videos in Chicago, when the communities are showing up in numbers protecting residents, they outnumber ICE. They're being peaceful, but they outnumber ICE. There's this video of these two ICE members trying their hardest to zip tie a Latino man, and they keep messing up, and the zip tie keeps falling off, and people kind of just kick the zip tie, and it takes about 2.5 minutes, and then the people keep surrounding. Everyone's peaceful, and they're like, "What are you doing? Stop doing this!" And after 2.5 minutes, these two ICE agents, they just give up. They get exhausted. The people overwhelm them. The force, the energy of the people overwhelm them. They're like, "All right, we're done." And these masked cowards got in their car and drove away. Drove away, folks. So all hands on deck. Thanks for joining us late night. I was supposed to stop, but Lev texted. I'm like, all right, let's go. There's 600 people watching. For those who are watching us late, been speaking for the last 50 minutes to Lev Parnas. Lev Parnas was a former Trump fixer. He went to jail. He came out. He's using his resources, his voice to speak out against Trump. Warning, he still has sources inside. So far, when Trump says bank on it. His sources are batting 1,000. We talked about the indictment of Letitia James, what's next, what Lev is hearing, and also the weaknesses that are they're opening, folks, in real time. The fissures within MAGA that we have to exploit, and Epstein, and what we should do and what can we be doing to resist this regime. Folks, be kind to each other. Try to subscribe. You won't hear this on corporate media. You can hear this on Lev Substack. Subscribe to Lev Substack. Subscribe to the Lev Token. If you have some money, give it to Lev. He has 700 kids. I have 300 kids.
actually,
And
Raj, can I just quickly? I launched, if I could promote quickly, I launched loveremembers.com. It's a store for No Kings. You could get your No Kings jersey and support me at the same time. And I'll see you on October 18th. We're going to really do it. So,
that's great. And be kind to everyone. And folks, don't be a fascist. Thanks, Lev. Take care.
take care, guys. All right.